Fine example of a mid-1990s long back British rucksack, all zipped up and ready to go. I'd like to run through a few points on these rucksacks. They're a very practical item, but they're very practical only if you're using them for self-sufficiency, long weekend, where you're carrying not only food, but you're carrying possibly a tent, probably bivvy, and sleeping bag. They're a large rucksack, large capacity. You've got the side pockets, which you all know. These are heavy. They come in at 4.5 kilograms, so really you only need them if you're carrying large volumes, because just carrying it itself is a weight. We'll run through on the few pockets. You're all familiar with it, but there's a couple of pointers which no one seems to mention. On these zips tend to become slightly sticky, so what you do need is on a regular basis to give them a smear of lubricant. Lubricant I use is the Wicks building lubricant. Put it on a cloth, give it a smear around all the zips. You'll find then everything operates easy. You're not sticky, you're not sort of frustrated, and you don't run the risk of busting anything. The other thing which is essential if you're away for any length of time is to carry a spare clasp, the hip clasp. You can replace them. I've replaced this with a low, they're quite good. It's a 50mm clasp. The ergonomics of these rucksacks is that most of the weight is carried on the hips. The design concept sort of followed through into the 70s. A lot of research went into rucksacks. Bergen were quite pioneers in this, and these hip supports, they're designed, they don't look much, but they're designed so that it fits on top of your hip bone. That's why the length of the rucksack is important. You need to have the rucksack fitting to you. These come in 3 lengths, long, medium, short. So fit accordingly, buy accordingly, carry a small clasp with you, because you don't want to be holding the full weight, bearing the full weight on your shoulders. It will absolutely cripple you. These are designed, the hip design it will hold about 60-70% of the weight of the rucksack. So it's important to have this and to have a backup spare. The other thing also to remember is if you're crossing water, or if anything is precarious, you're going to have to unclip this. Otherwise you start losing your balance, you start dropping into water. It's going to be difficult to get this sack off. So unclip it, loosen it off. Anything that's precarious, be careful. It's a lot of weight and it's all up high. You're going to lose your balance. Oh, the sun's coming out, that's good. The side pockets are designed to be removed. They've got the zip at the side, they're also clipped in. They fit in with the yoke, and the yoke is separate. They're designed, I think, as a day sack, sort of zipped together. They're not perfect, but it gets over. The alternative to that is to get some 1/2-inch webbing. Now they sell these specific, they've got 3 clips on them. You can buy them off of eBay, about £5 for a pair, and you're able then to rig up a simple day sack to utilise the side pockets as a day sack. And if you're careful and fastidious in your packing, as I know some of you are, your day sack can be pre-packed and carried on your rucksack and then removed. Makes it a lot easier. These little pockets, they're all sort of useful, putting in immediate access. Your top pocket's really handy on this. It's the easiest thing when you drop the rucksack is to drop it upright and then just open up. And of course, you've got one on the inside as well, more weatherproof. So it's a handy little area. These are quite sizable actually, so you can put a fair amount in. And that really sort of summarises the practicality of these larger rucksacks. It's for a purpose, and really it's for self-sufficiency over a few days, carrying everything that you should want. Wow, I never expected this. We've got sunshine. I've used these myself. I quite like what is the military kit mat. That I found practical. The inflationary ones I've used, I quite like that. It's a simple unwind it, lay it down against a curve and then sit on it, and you've got something. You don't have to be too careful with them. So there we have it. Try and get out the sunlight, don't shadow it. Cracking piece of kit, well worth considering, and they're not really that expensive. I can remember in the 80s that these styles of bag produced by Bergen, these were considerable amount. They were about £120. They were a very expensive item. They made several other styles as well, which was the Rock, which was a simpler one. That was designed for sort of, alpine style, hill walking, mountaineering. That was a clever little rucksack as well. I must say the designers improved immensely over the years. These rucksacks have become very efficient. The key factor on the design of rucksacks is the hip bearing. All of the weight, well, majority of the weight. That was the key on all this, so that you could start doing distances with them without becoming uncomfortable and causing injuries. Very clever idea. So there you have it. Don't forget to lubricate the zips and then have some fun. Go out and do something with it. Cheers.